everyone, Twana Michelle here. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you have been here before. I am a psychotherapist and recovery coach, and I help folks who are struggling with codependency, narcissistic abuse, and interpersonal trauma. And today I'm going to talk to you guys about how you are maintaining the trauma bond. And if you are watching this video, you are likely trying to get out of a relationship with a narcissist, or you have recently gotten out of a relationship with a narcissist, and you may find yourself still struggling with the pull, the attraction to go back to them, to want to be with them, and you are likely trauma bonded. We become bonded through trauma to these narcissists as a result of the intermittent reinforcement of the rewards that we get from them. So you never know when it's coming. When they choose to, for their own purposes, they will reward you with whatever they do during the love bombing stages to make you feel good about them, make you feel good about yourself, make you feel good about the relationship, and that they are going to follow that with some form of abuse, narcissistic abuse. It might be emotional abuse, might even be physical abuse, but they get you kind of caught up in this cycle of good and bad, reward and punishment. So the addiction, because that's what trauma bond is, it's an addiction. The addiction comes with the intermittent reward, the good things that you get from them during that hot and cold cycle. So they get you bonded through trauma, and then, like any other addiction, it can be very difficult to get out of it, to break free from it. So I'm going to talk about how you might be maintaining this addiction process, this trauma bond, even when you don't have any actual contact with a narcissist, when you are not interacting with them. Because you may be at the point where you decided, I got to get out of this. One of the things I'm going to do is just cut them off, not have any contact with them, any actual contact. And you may find that you're still quite addicted to them. So I'm going to tell you five or six, don't know if I numbered them. I'm going to give you some reasons as to why you are still stuck in the trauma bond and things that you are doing to maintain that. Because there are things a narcissist is doing, such as the hoovering and trying to get response from you. And you may not even be giving in to that. But there may be other things that you're doing that are keeping you stuck in this trauma bond. The first thing you might be doing is constantly thinking about the narcissist. You may have intrusive thoughts about the narcissist. They're on your mind all the time. You're thinking about experiences you've had with them. You're just constantly allowing this person to have mental space in your head. And when you are thinking about something, you are creating more, or I should say you are feeding more of that addiction. Whatever you think about becomes your reality. So if I say that I'm not going to have any contact with a narcissist, I'm done with them, but yet they're always on my mind and I'm always thinking about them, well, the reality is that I'm not completely done with them because they're always on my mind. I'm always allowing them in my thoughts. Now, the key word in trauma bonding is trauma. So if you've been with a narcissist, you had likely experienced trauma, and you could even have PTSD, or even if you don't, intrusive thoughts are a symptom of trauma. So it may feel like it, let me say that, like it's beyond your control. Because when you're traumatized by something and you want to avoid thinking about it, the more you try to avoid thinking about it, the more thoughts you're going to have intrusively when you don't want them. So you may not have complete control of the thoughts coming to your mind, but when you do have the thoughts, you can learn to recognize it, cut it off quickly, mid-thought, and change that thought into something more reality based in the moment. For instance, if you have a thought, I wonder what my narcissist is doing. Soon as you start thinking, I wonder what the narcissist, cut it out. Even if you have to tell yourself out loud, I reject this thought. And you might even replace it with, the narcissist hurt me. I don't want to have anything to do with them. It doesn't matter what they're doing right now. So you want to remind yourself of the reality of the situation, and you want to reject those thoughts, and you want to get rid of them. But constantly thinking about the narcissist and allowing that thought in your mind is keeping you trauma bonded to them. And the second way you are maintaining the trauma bond with a narcissist, even when you have no contact, is that you are romanticizing them in the relationship. And this kind of goes along with the first thing I said. So not only are we thinking about them, but we are thinking about all the positive things about them. We are romanticizing the relationship. We are thinking about how fun and how spontaneous they were, how exciting they were, how adventurous, how during the love bombing stages they would just shower us with gifts and affection. We might even think about how great things were sexually with the narcissist, because narcissists use sex as a weapon to get you addicted. And so you may start to think about all of the great things about the relationship, romanticize the relationship, romanticize the narcissist. And again, this is a result of the trauma and the cognitive dissonance. When you are trauma bonded to someone as a result of good and bad, hot and cold, punishment, reward, you don't want to accept all of the negative parts. You want to focus on the good, the rewards, the positive, the love, the fun. But the other side of them is just as much a part of who they are. In fact, it's more of who they are. Because all of the positive things you get from the narcissist is a manipulation, is a strategy to reel you back in, to make you think that you're special and you're loved so much by them, until they do something to take that away. And that's what the trauma bonding is. It's like, I'm going to give you all of this love and affection, but now I'm going to take it back. And we don't want them to take it back. We want to receive it again. And we're waiting for that next moment for them to give us some of the good stuff again. And then they do, and then they take it back. And again, we are caught in this cycle with them and completely addicted. And it's just like being addicted to a substance where you're always chasing that high. And when you don't have it, you're thinking about it. You want it. So you have to have strategies in place to manage those types of thoughts. And you have to have some type of support and even help, professional help, and learning to recognize cognitive dissonance, unhealthy thinking. You might need some help in learning to replace those types of fantasy-based thoughts with reality, because that's basically what it is. Everything the narcissist gave you is fantasy. It's not real. And so the romanticization of that, just like with an addiction, right? You romanticize the high and you overlook all of the destruction it's caused in your life. So if you are still focusing on all the so-called positive things about your relationship with a narcissist and romanticizing them, you are keeping yourself stuck in a trauma bond. And the third reason that you are maintaining the trauma bond with the narcissist is that you are physically seeing them through photos, social media. So I actually combined these two together. That's why I couldn't remember if I had 5 or 6. Looking at photos and going on their social media website, I just combined those together. It might not be, it could be separate. Like you may not be going on their social media sites, but you could have photos of him and you and him or her on your phone. And so you could just be going through old photos on your phone and not necessarily going on their social media. But because they're so closely related in behavior, I'm just going to link them together. So if you are looking at them, visually seeing them in old photos, or let's say you deleted all your photos and you are going to their social media pages and you are trying to follow their life on Facebook or Instagram, or trying to see what they're doing and just wanting to see them, that is going to keep you trauma bonded, because your brain is going to respond to that. You are feeding the addiction. You are creating a dopamine response in your brain, a reward for seeing the person I'm addicted to. And this is going to make you want more of it. It's going to make you want to see them more. This is the thing. Even if you are no contact, you're not interacting with them, you're not answering their calls, you're not replying to their texts, you're not responding to their emails, all of these things that I'm mentioning are taking you one step closer to actually giving in, having contact, getting yourself back involved in that narcissistic relationship. So there are steps in the relapse process, and you are maybe doing these things, not consciously choosing to do it, but engaging in these behaviors that are going to lead you to a full so-called relapse where you end up back with them. So don't do that. Delete the photos. I know that's hard. I struggle with that because I love photos just like everybody else for memories, right? You just never know when you're gonna want to go back and look at something and think about that time in your life. And even when there are things that were unpleasant, we still may sometimes want to go back and kind of reflect on that. And that makes sense, because it could be helpful in processing something, processing a memory, a feeling. But it's not helpful when it's an addiction, and a trauma bond is an addiction. So you don't want to feed that. So as hard as it may be, you want to cut them off completely. You want to get rid of those pictures, let them go. And if you can't, because this was something that I had to face for myself. That was hard for me to delete all the pictures, the photos. Photos are a reminder that something existed, that it was real. And it was hard for me to let that go, but then I had to question myself. I had to question if I was trying to hold on to this person, and if I was really actually ready to let go. And at that time, the honest answer was that no, I wasn't ready, which is fine. You get ready when you get there, but you have to be aware of it, because when you're aware of it, you can be in control of it. When you're in denial about it, then it controls you. So sometimes when you're doing these things, it's because you have not consciously chosen to completely let go. You might be halfway there, you might be 80% there, but you're not 100% there. So be real with yourself and ask yourself, do you really want to let go? If you do, what are you holding on to these pictures for? What are you on their Facebook and their Instagram page for? What is the purpose of that? Well, I'm just curious. I want to see how they're doing, what life is like without me. I want to see how he's treating this new relationship. I want to see if this new supply is getting better treatment than I'm getting. Why? Why do you care? You've gotten yourself out of that relationship. That was abusive. That was harmful to you. You're moving on. You're getting healthier. You're growing. You're changing. You're making better decisions about yourself, about relationships, about life in general. So why are we still wanting to know all these things about this person? Could be that you're still grieving. Could be that you're still bonded through trauma. And that's why you need to be aware if you're doing these things. There's a reason. And you want to do whatever work you need to do to avoid it. And the fourth way that you are maintaining the trauma bond is through wishful thinking, if only thinking. Yes, this is a part of grieving. You're grieving the loss. This is also related to the cognitive dissonance, the distorted thinking as a result of the abuse, as a result of the addiction you have to this person. So if you find yourself doing the whole wishful thinking, I wish things could have been different with the narcissist and me. I wish he could just change and then we could have a healthy relationship. If only I saw more of the good parts of him and that other side didn't exist. So when you think like that, you are not fully accepting this person for who they are. You are not fully accepting the loss of the relationship. You are not accepting that I made the right decision to move on. This person is no good for me. So yeah, that is a part of the grieving process. But again, you have to be aware. And if you are doing that, then go back and do some more grief work. Don't allow yourself to get caught up in the whole wishful thinking, because thoughts influence our reality. Not that if I think if only he could have been, a more decent person, he's going to become one. No, it means the wishful thinking is going to lead you back to the person that you are trying to avoid, because you are keeping them and the relationship alive in your life through your thoughts. So that's how you're maintaining the trauma bond. That's another way that you're doing that. And the last reason that I'm going to give you that you are staying stuck in the trauma bond, even with no contact with the narcissist, is that you are not doing the work on yourself. All of these things that I mentioned previously are the result of you giving up the source of the addiction without doing the recovery work, the healing work that led you to the addiction in the first place, and that's keeping you drawn to that. So doing the work means I have to identify, why do I keep ending up in these types of relationships anyway? What were the red flags that were there that I ignored? Did I feel unworthy of anything better? Was that the reason that I stayed in this relationship? How do I work on my self-worth? How do I go through the grieving process so that I can properly grieve the loss of this relationship and recognize that the memories, the thoughts are related to grief, and it doesn't mean I need to go back? How do I identify the initial source, the core wound within myself that has kept me stuck in this situation? How can I connect this relationship to previous relationships in my life? Maybe things in childhood that are unresolved that I keep perpetuating subconsciously. So these are some of the questions that are going to get answered when you work on yourself, which means seeing someone for professional help, maybe a psychotherapist, preferably a psychotherapist. You can also get a coach. I know there are coaches out there who help with narcissistic abuse and recovery. There are support groups. There's tons of education. You know, you can learn about these things. Learning about it isn't enough. We can learn about it, but you're probably going to need some help to apply the things that you learn to your life and to be able to deal with the emotions that are left unprocessed and the wounds that are left unhealed. So these are the reasons that you're staying trauma bonded to this person. You're remaining addicted to them because you're feeding the addiction by constantly thinking about them, romanticizing about the relationship, looking at old photos, stalking their social media pages, not doing your own healing work, which is the most important. I mentioned it last, but it's actually the most important, and it's going to help you with all of the other things that I mentioned. So that's all I have for you guys today. If you have anything that you want to add to this, if you can think of any other things that one could be doing to keep them trauma bonded to someone, put it in the comment section down below, so that those who may be looking at this video and reading the comments could see that and benefit from that as well. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Also, share this video out with those you think may benefit from it. And let's see, what else? Yeah, if you have a question for me, leave it down below. If you have any topics that you'd like me to cover, leave that down below as well. If you have not subscribed to our community, what are you waiting on? We'd love to have you. I am going to start doing weekly lives, probably within the next month or so. So, you know, share this with people, let them know, so that we can have folks coming in and just have an amazing, engaging conversation. And I think that is it. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, take care. Bye.